Today marks the official launch of Innistrad Midnight Hunt, and at the same time, Wizards of the Coast has made a surprise ban announcement letting us know that one of the cards from this new set is already banned. Now, more surprising to me than the actual ban announcement itself is the way that Wizards of the Coast has chosen to handle this ban.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we are here to talk about a very strange situation. We have on our hands a brand new set release for Innistrad Midnight Hunt. But unlike most Magic set releases, we have a day zero banning, which means right when the set is available, we are told, surprise, this one card in particular is banned. So what we're going to do is take a look, first of all, at the card that's getting banned, and that's Pithing Needle. So I'm going to put it up on the screen for you, both the card and the artwork, because I find this particular variation of Pithing Needle to be very intense. So we're going to go over the flavor of the card, then we'll talk about where it's banned and why, and finally we'll wrap up by discussing the crazy way that this ban was handled. All right, so Pithing Needle is a very interesting Magic card on multiple levels. And this is not the first time this card has been printed, all right? This is a reprint, which makes it even more surprising that you would get a ban for a card that was reprinted, right? So, Pithing Needle is 1 to cast, and it says, as Pithing Needle enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. And the flavor text says, occasionally a scab remembers too much of its former life. Luckily, there's an easy cure. Now, I have to say, I love the flavor behind this. It is very ghastly and grim, but it ultimately fits very well with Innistrad's flavor and kind of with the whole feel of October, right? Because we got that Halloween vibe going on. But anyways, the idea here is that you have this needle that you can inject into a subject and you can limit their thoughts with it in this case, right? And if you didn't know, Pithing Needles are actually a real-world concept that were mainly used on animals. So this is really something pulled from reality and turned into a grisly concept. Take a look at this artwork. You have a scab, which if you're not already familiar with Innistrad, isn't somebody crossing a picket line. I mean, I guess they could, but they're really Innistrad's blue variation of zombies, right? You have two different kinds of zombies, the kind that are resurrected as they were. Billy died, all right, resurrect him. You got a new Billy, right? But scabs are basically Frankenstein monsters where you take a little bit of Billy, you take a little bit of Timmy, you take a little bit of Sally, and you staple them all together into a monstrosity that apparently remembers parts of its life sometimes, which has to be horrific when you're made out of multiple bodies, right? If you have one head and it's like, boom, I've got the brain of my original life, but then all of a sudden you got these different arms and legs and a different torso, that is pretty horrific. So the flavor concept on this card is really on point. And I put the full art up on the screen as well because it gives you that extended variation where you can really see the face of the scab. He's not having a good time. This is pretty intense. But from a gameplay perspective, Pithing Needle is actually really useful. You can shut down a ton of different permanents with it, right? It doesn't just affect creatures. It can affect artifacts, it can affect planeswalkers, it can affect enchantments. It is great for things that have activated abilities, but not mana abilities. And if you're not familiar with mana abilities, it's literally just things like tapping a land or a creature for mana. That's the only thing you can't shut down. And I mean, imagine if you could. Hey, what are you playing? Oh, you're playing mono green? Okay, I'm going to put out a Pithing Needle and I'm going to say forest. And it's like, oh, so yeah, you can't tap your forests for mana. So they have to have that kind of condition placed on it. But essentially, this is a great sideboard card, or I guess main deck if like the meta gets really bad. But it's a great sideboard card to handle all kinds of problematic scenarios. So the question becomes, why and where is it banned? Well, as for where it's banned, let me put the announcement up on the screen here. You will see that it says, "We would like to acknowledge that with the release of Innistrad Midnight Hunt, the card Pithing Needle is banned in both Brawl and Historic Brawl. Due to its function, this card can completely disable certain commanders in a way that we do not condone on these digital formats." So this announcement is pretty straightforward in some ways, letting us know, hey, okay, you can't use it in Brawl. Now, what's interesting to me is Pithing Needle isn't banned in Commander. So in Commander, you can play Pithing Needle. So it is a little bit weird that they have elected to say, okay, you can't play this in Brawl because it shuts down the abilities of commanders. But it does the exact same thing in Commander. Is it because Commander is a more wide open pool? I will fully admit that I find it a little bit of a head scratcher, but at the same time, I also understand that it would be a frustrating card to run into time and again, where it's just like, Pithing Needle again on my Commander. But Brawl does have the same rules as Commander, where you can only play a single copy of the cards. So it really does kind of skirt the line of, I get the ban, but at the same time, I kind of don't get why they've banned it. It seems like it would be fine. I mean, a lot of people's commanders probably have obnoxious abilities. Maybe it's just the fact that it can hose commanders across the board in Brawl. But anyways, it is a strange beast. But what's even more weird about this announcement, because I know there's going to be a bunch of people who genuinely don't care about Historic Brawl or Brawl, right? They're like, whatever, this doesn't matter to me. But there are a lot of people who play Brawl and Historic Brawl. If that wasn't true, Historic Brawl wouldn't have even been created. People wouldn't be lobbying for 100 card Historic Brawl. So Brawl is definitely a genuine format, right? It's not like it's a nothing format nobody plays. So this is definitely an odd choice from that perspective. But I want you to take a look at the announcement on the screen so I can boil down how even more crazy this scenario is, because you'll notice that this announcement was made by Wizards customer support. Normally, when there's a ban announcement, Wizards of the Coast will actually put out a full BNR announcement, right? And they do it for just arena formats. They do it for Historic and other things. So it doesn't really make sense that there's no announcement on the mothership. So if you go to Wizards of the Coast actual website, there is no announcement of this there. We don't have that. On top of it, it wasn't tweeted out by the official Magic the Gathering account either on Twitter. This is literally being tweeted out by Wizards of the Coast's customer support, which most likely means that they're getting a bunch of people messaging them saying, yo, why can't I put this in my Brawl deck? What's going on? How come Pithing Needle is like, Arena has a bug. It's most likely being reported as a bug. So just the starting phrase where it says, we'd like to acknowledge that with the release of Innistrad, the Pithing Needle is banned in both Brawl and Historic Brawl. So first of all, it's genuinely confusing that they've done this way. Secondly, if you look on Gatherer, which is Wizards of the Coast's actual, like, part of their website, where you can go and look through cards to find out rulings and what formats they're legal in, it lists Pithing Needle as being legal. It says that it's legal in Brawl right there in Gatherer, which to me is pretty confusing. You don't do a full-on announcement. We have no article about it, no tweet from the main account. You have the Wizards of the Coast customer support tweeting this out. And then the confusion goes even higher with this post, and this is really what's tripping people out, is the final part of this statement where it says, due to its function, this card can completely disable certain commanders in a way that we do not condone on these digital formats. Digital formats. This is genuinely baffling, because now the question becomes, did you only ban Pithing Needle in Brawl and Historic Brawl on Arena? Because Brawl, contrary to what some people think, isn't an arena-only format. In fact, when we originally were told about Brawl and it was created as a format, it was physical. Literally, they sold Brawl Precon decks. They made a series of 4 different Brawl Precon decks, and if you have Arcane Signets in your Commander deck now, you have Brawl to thank for that. So this literally started as a full physical release, and now we have a scenario where you can't even tell from the announcement where it's actually banned. Gatherer doesn't tell you that it's banned, right? This is saying digital formats, so is it physical or digital? Like, this to me has to be the absolute worst handling of a ban that I have seen, at least in recent memory. First day ban, not even telling us what format specifically it's banned in a way that is concrete and understandable. To me, this is a failure, right? So I just wanted to let you guys know I thought this was interesting and worthy of discussion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I put out a video about the Domain trading card game yesterday, so if you haven't checked it out already, I'm going to leave a link on the screen for you here at the end of the video. Thanks for coming by. Hope you enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all, my friends, in the next video.